Well, good morning, everyone. And once again, welcome to another live here this morning. Hope you're having a great start to your day. I'll wait for a few folks to come on so we can say hello here. Here we go. Nick Kale. First one up. Good morning. Rosa, Barbara, and Nativity. Good morning. Rosalinda, Francis Marie, good morning. Debbie, good morning. And Mary, good morning. Nick, from our staff. Linda. And Sandra from Aurelia, good morning to you. Carrie, Nebraska. John, good morning. Kevin. And Wendy, Markham, Lori, Niagara Falls, Tina, good morning. Diane from Ottawa, Jen from the East Coast, Anne, good morning. Donna, Park Hill, Ontario. Lori from Ventura, California. Diane, Thunder Bay. Jean, good morning. Germaine, how are you? Rachel, good morning. Dorothy, good morning. Cheryl, good morning. And Gary, Bolton, Regina, and Sherry. Oh, Sherry, you have no idea. Every time I see your name, I want to sing. Deanna, Deb from Detroit, good morning. Pauline, good morning. Yolande, bonjour. And Brahim, good morning. Did I change my laptop? Jimmy. Marilyn, good morning. Edmonton, Dorothy. Denise, Lorna, and Noeline. Bonjour. Jerry, Hatley, Quebec. Karen McGuire from the McGuire sisters. Chantal, it reminds me of a song. Suzanne, Tina, Cindy, Louise, good morning. Couple of more and here we go. Lori, Cambridge. Irene. I could sing a song, Irene. I really could. Marg from Timmins. Levi, Julie, you guys are great. Okay, couple of studies here that I want to look at this morning, and let me give you the headlines. Okay, so the headlines: 2 studies, one out of the British Journal of Medicine. The other one I got to look at. Where did I find that again? Anyway, let's look at the other one is diets. The diet alters the microbiome. Well, how many times have I told you that? Okay. Now, here's one study out of the British Medical Journal of Medicine. We're going to very prestigious journal that said this. I'm just going to give you the headline. Ultra-processed foods. Ultra-processed foods are very detrimental to your health. Hello? Ultra-processed foods are detrimental to your health. Now, let me get this study up for you because I find it interesting. Okay? I find it interesting because their definition of ultra-processed foods a little bit different than mine. Okay? And the other one is found, by the way, then I'll come back to this, in the neurosciencenews.com. Sugar disrupts the microbiome. It eliminates protection against obesity and diabetes. Okay, so that's the other study, but let me, and here's the one. Ultra-processed foods linked to cancer and early death. Okay, now, what you folks know, or at least I think I've mentioned it, I'm writing a new book. Okay? I'm writing a new book. And sun, steak, and steel. And sleep. All S's. Okay? All S's. And I've really enjoyed putting this together. Okay? And writing this book. Okay? Number, I don't know, 22 or 23 on the hit parade for me. Okay? And I really do, when I sit down and sort of discipline myself to put things together in a book, the hardest part for me is sort of putting the skeleton there. And then I just fill in, okay? So when I have an idea or whatever, I just sort of got to put the skeleton. When I get that, I can write that book. Anyway, one of the things that I talk about, and will always talk about, as long as I'm living, I'll talk about the dangers of sugar. Now, you guys know that, okay? You know that. And the second study, okay, so the one here, let me read it to you. Ultra-processed foods linked to cancer and early death study finds. What they did is they followed 200,000 people, men and women, and they came to this conclusion. Do I agree with it? Absolutely. Almost everything they said. Okay? And they got it right in a lot of ways. But they put too many things in the ultra-processed. For example, okay? And guys, I mean this. When they put sausage in with ultra-processed, even hot dogs, okay? I'm not saying that they're equal to steak. All I'm saying is they missed the point. It's not the meat. It's sugar. It's the bun. It's the bun. So the first study that talks about the gut or diet alters microbiome. Let me just read it to you again. Sugar disrupts the microbiome. It eliminates protection. Sugar eliminates protection against obesity and diabetes. So, not only does sugar elevate your blood sugar, okay, and forces your body into a crisis mode. It does. Because when you eat sugar, your pancreas has to secrete an enormous amount of insulin. That's one way. And you develop a condition. People develop a condition. 93% of the population have this condition. It's called insulin resistance. 93% of the population. Okay? And this study is showing that sugar not only elevates your insulin and thus develop insulin resistance, but it disrupts your microbiome in a way that they just didn't realize before. Now, you guys that have been following me know my statement. Don't feed the bears. Okay? Why do I say that? Because of the invasive army in the gut. Sugar feeds the wrong guys. It feeds candida. It feeds yeast. Don't feed the bears. Okay? That's where that statement comes from. Leaky gut. And what this study is saying, okay, where the gut, it's found in the journal Cell, where now they're saying that sugar is far more destructive than we thought. Or they thought. It's not far more destructive than I thought. And you have to understand my thinking. You have to understand where I come from. And I repeat. Why? Why is sugar so bad? Sugar's been around for as long as man has been around. Why is it so bad for you? Because the world has changed. In the last 50 years, we've gone from when I was a kid, okay, so that's over 50 years, but these are nutritional facts, guys. In the 1950s, when I was born, Tony Jr., it's birthday today. I was thinking, holy moly, I'm getting old. My oldest. Okay? But in the 1950s, North Americans were consuming 25 pounds of sugar a year. Like, it's, you ever seen a big bag that weighs 25 pounds? That's pretty big. But today, it's almost 200 pounds. You don't need a bag anymore. You need a dump truck. Because the food industry, they want sales. And they hooked up with Dr. Kellogg's. Okay? They hooked up with Dr. Kellogg's. And what's happened? What's happened? A complete change. A paradigm shift. Guys, sugar is the new smoking. You know me, I've said this. Cigarettes killed, and they still do. Cigarettes in the 1950s and the 1960s. People were smoking so much that it took about 30, 40 years. But smoking was creating a new condition like heart disease. Like, you got to look at the history of medicine. It's very fascinating. Like, if you go back into the 1800s, it's not that people never had heart disease, okay? It's not that there was no cancer. There was, but not like after World War II. Smoking. and secondhand smoke and whatever. People didn't even know. People thought smoking, they used to advertise in Life magazine and probably on the early stations and TV. Camel cigarettes, and what kind of cigarettes does your doctor smoke? Meaning, must be healthy. And my dad smoked 4 packs of Buckinghams a day. I preferred my mother's Peter Jackson. At least it had a filter on it. Smoking. But what even the world is finally catching up to in the world of research is the new smoking is sugar. It's sugar, my friend. It's not salt. It's sugar. And of course, with the introduction of a fake sugar, of the Frankenstein sugar, high fructose corn syrup even made it worse. So here they did. They followed 200,000 people and they found out that people that love what they call processed foods. My friend, the processed foods is the things that elevate your insulin and insulin resistance. They never said this. They never said this in the British Journal of Medicine. They didn't say it. But what has skyrocketed today? What diseases are out of control today? Heart disease. It can't be smoking anymore. It can't. The vast majority of the population don't smoke anymore. Cancer. We're not winning the war on cancer. We're losing the war on cancer. They're not trying to prevent cancer. They're trying to detect cancer and then treat it aggressively. Okay. But that's not prevention. And studies like this are talking about, wow, it's food, my friend. That's what they're saying. At least I give them a high five. I really do. They're saying food. Let me read the headline. Again, ultra-processed foods linked to cancer and early death. Headline. Hello? And what they don't talk about, is how that happens. And if they talked about how that happens, they'd realize it's really not the processed food in that way. Yes, middle aisles of your grocery stores, absolutely, I agree with that. But they always want to vilify meat. They do, because it's part of their thinking. Yeah, but you got, it's amazing that they didn't say steak here, because they usually add that to it. Like, don't eat red meat. They're talking about bacon when they shouldn't be. Bacon don't give you elevated insulin. It's the opposite. It's not bacon. It's the toast. It's not bacon, it's the toast. It's not the eggs, it's the toast. Because they miss a step. They've come to the right conclusion. they come to the right conclusion. Foods are very much involved in early death. And it's scary. All the tea in China, my friend, isn't going to fix it. Money won't fix it. Money won't fix it. Let me give you a quote from my new book. Let me give you a quote that I wrote. Getting healthy will never come from the government. Never. It is what you do for yourself. Getting healthy will never come from the government. Don't wait for the government to be healthy. It won't come from there. It only comes from individuals. It's our responsibility. You can't control everything in life, but you can control what you put in your mouth every day. And what this study missed, in my opinion, is the doubling down they should have done on sugar. They said it, but they lumped everything in together. It's sugar, my friend. Yeah, seed oils too. I don't like them. I don't. But I'm telling you, there's nothing as destructive as sugar. Okay? Sugar is the new cigarettes. Sugar increases insulin. And insulin can be your friend. Insulin can be your friend. You need insulin. You really do. But insulin can kill you. It's a double-edged sword. Insulin saves your life because it controls your blood sugar. But the problem is when you get insulin resistance, when you use insulin too much, and your cells don't like insulin anymore. But your body says, I don't care if you like me. Headquarters says, I don't care if you or your loved ones insist on consuming sugar and anything that will turn to sugar rapidly. Bread, pasta, rice, cereals, sugars, sweets, pastries, muffins, bagels, any kind of bread, any cereal. I don't care what kind of cereal it is. Oatmeal. I don't care. You might as well have, what did I show you one time? 19 Smarties with oatmeal. It turns to sugar so rapidly, your pancreas goes crazy. And remember, insulin, its job. Sugar, come here. Follow me. You can't park there. You cannot stay in the bloodstream. You're coming out. I'm going to park you. Get out of there. You're in a no parking zone. You can't park in the bloodstream. And insulin parks sugar into fat. 99% of medicine, including dietitians, don't even understand that process still. I can't get over it. 99%, that cancer, cardiovascular disease, Alzheimer's, and especially diabetes and diabesity, it's a fat storing problem. Number one, it's a fat storing problem. What? It stores fat in all the wrong places. Insulin, left unabated, will store fat in all the wrong places. It'll store it in your pancreas, on your heart, worst spot, the liver. It's the Costco parking lot, around your kidneys and around your bowel. Huge storage problem. So it stores fat, and the problem is it shrinks the fat in the right places, meaning that, let me rephrase it, it shrinks the fat where you want fat. Where do you want fat? In your brain. Sugar shrinks that. It's a fat storing derangement. You want fat in your brain. You want fat in your eyeballs. You want fat in your skin. You want fat in your joints. Good fat. You do. So the study, I'm glad they came out with it. I wonder if anyone will talk about it. They're not talking moderation. They're not. They're saying it's bad for you. Okay? Now, let's tie it in with the second study. It's really important, that study. Tie it in. I want to give the memo to all of them. These two things need to be tied together. First of all, in the first one, the ultra-processed foods has to do with the sugar content and the bad oils. You don't get bad oil from bacon. You don't. It's not bad oil. Well, unless you think olive oil is bad oil. Oh, the Mediterranean diet, Doc. Everybody, that's the Mediterranean diet. Yeah, I don't disagree. The Mediterranean diet, if you really look at it, is full of eggs, meat, and cheese, and olive oil. Fish, meat, fish. That's the Mediterranean diet. They don't tell you that. They just analyze the Mediterranean diet. I've written articles about the Mediterranean diet. Yeah, well, you know, because they always want the Mediterranean diet is just fruits and vegetables. No, it's not. I'm not saying they don't eat any fruit, but they don't live on fruit. They don't even live on vegetables. They live on fish. They live on fat, a lot of fat. It's the paradox of the Frenchman. From France. It's like a paradox. They can't get over it. Frenchmen don't get heart disease and they smoke like fiends. Yeah, but they eat a lot of fat. They love their butter. What do they love? Le foie de canard? Right? Or is it geese? Geese liver. I don't know. No, but guys, listen. Listen. Now, the second part of this is really important because they won't tie these studies together, but I will. The journal Cell. Sugar that disrupts the microbiome. It eliminates protection against obesity and diabetes. Neuroscience News. There's things that happen within the gut. The more, guys, they study the microbiome, the more they study that, the more fascinating scientists become. The more powerful the microscope, the more they can look at how these bacteria are, the intelligence within them. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Inside. You can't even see it. It's invisible. But what have I said about that invisible microbiome? It's a war, my friend. It's a war. Okay? It's a war. Constantly. There's a constant war going on within the gut. Good versus bad. Okay? When I read my Bible, when I read it, you read Ephesians chapter 6, it talks about an invisible war. You can't see it, but it's going on behind the scenes. That reminds me of your gut. It reminds me of my gut. I can't see it. Somebody asked me the other day, it was a good question. When they do a colonoscopy, can they see leaky gut? No. They don't even know what it is. Most doctors, if you ask them, I'm not saying all of them, most of them, what is leaky gut? I don't know. Well, that was made up by Dr. Martin. No, I didn't make it up. I didn't make it up. I remember when I had a radio show years ago interviewed Dr. Alan Watson. Smart. And we spent the whole program talking about the microbiome. And this is 20 years ago. And he was talking about the neurological implications of your gut. Okay? Let me quote something that he said. I'll never forget it. If you don't think your diet, listen to what he said, Dr. Watson. If you don't think your diet affects your brain, you are clearly malnourished. It was fun. I thought it was hilarious. If you don't think your diet affects your brain, you're clearly malnourished. You're not thinking straight. Because the Hippocrates said it, the father of medicine. He said this 2,000 years ago. All diseases start in the gut. Did Hippocrates know about the microbiome? Nope. He didn't. But sugar disrupts the microbiome. It sets off a cascade of problems with those little bacteria. It feeds the wrong guys. Interesting, eh? It's interesting. Now, let me encourage those who started the reset. And let me encourage others. And by the way, you might have noticed, and I'll just give it a little plug here, Dr. McEwen, okay, maybe we could play that again on the private Facebook group, is asking for just your feedback on the reset. And without using your name or whatever. And they want to know how much the private Facebook group helps. Okay? I think it's a big help. I do. But you guys, they're doing a study, a research thing at the University of Tennessee, and they want your feedback on that. Okay? So if you see that, you're going to see Dr. McEwen, if you haven't seen her before, okay? A friend at the University of Tennessee, okay? Now, that was fun. Got me going. What's new? Okay, guys, we got a great week coming up. And some really, really interesting studies, okay, that I want to bring to you. Fascinating. Okay? So, tell everyone about the Doctor Is In podcast. Okay, please. Let people know about that. Let your friends know. They can download it on their smartphone. Comes up automatically. Don't ask me how they do that. Okay? And get friends and neighbors and your family to get them to join the private Facebook group. Okay? It's private. It's a membership. It's fun. A lot of feedback. Very good. Always interesting. Okay? And remember, Friday's question and answer Friday. Okay, guys. We love you guys, and we'll talk to you soon.